All right. My name is Faith Whithoft, and this is my SDG 4 assignment. We're going to be talking about Sustainable Development Goal number 7, and the country I chose was Kenya. So, what is SDG 7? Well, it seeks to, quote, ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. SDG 7 promotes and supports global electricity access, clean energy as well, in order to open up new opportunities to people across the world by creating more job opportunities, better education, and just an overall more sustainable and healthy quality of life. So we'll talk a little bit about how Kenya is doing in this area. So the share of population with access to electricity, I want to note how even though we're not at 100% like Russia, Vietnam, or we'll see the US, Kenya at 76% has made massive strides since the year 1990. And again, we can see that with the electricity access versus GDP per capita. They have made so much progress there, especially the way that Nigeria's GDP at $7,844 versus Kenya's at $5,692. Kenya is still making more strides towards getting to that 100% of the goal, even with a lower GDP per capita. Now, people without access to electricity has again gone way down. We're at 13.17 million. Hopefully that number will reach zero eventually. But the number of people without access to clean fuels for cooking has gone up a bit. In SDG 7 in America, I didn't feel the need to include all the graphics because the US is pretty much at 100% for everything and 0 people for the number of people without access to cooking fuel and the number of people without access to electricity. The US has had complete access to all these things since as far back as this chart shows. And yes, they're doing great, but let's compare them. So the USA has had massive historical wealth and a very well-established infrastructure for a long time. And all of the centuries of accumulation have allowed the US to build and maintain and finance universal electricity access. So it's been easier, and I dare say the US needs to work even harder to establish more clean energy and support our environment and our earth here, despite the fact that everyone may have electricity access. Kenya, on the other hand, they may not be doing as well, but Kenya has not always had this historical wealth to lean on, and they've always been at the front lines of climate crisis and susceptible to vulnerabilities in that area. Kenya has been leading the charge for climate action by combining new policies, green infrastructure, and international collaboration with other countries, and just innovation overall. They've been doing phenomenal, as we can see in the chart before of how the numbers skyrocketed from the year 1990. And 90% of their energy is already produced from renewable sources. So, with how well Kenya is already doing, it was honestly hard to figure out how global information technologies could further support them. But I came up with a few ideas. As far as home electricity goes, there are still some areas where people don't have the means to get that electricity. So, a pay as you go solar system where families are provided small amounts of electricity producing hardware, maybe some LEDs, light bulbs, small solar panels, etc. Instead of buying these really expensive electricity systems up front, the small systems will remain on and provide them electricity. They're paid off as long as the user continues to pay, they stay on. And just in general, focusing on the use of sustainable and clean energy such as solar panels throughout lower income areas that lack traditional energy sources will provide clean energy, even if it's not in someone's home. Maybe it's at a community center where someone can go and get that energy. And using cloud technology to actually upload data on the electricity consumption through the use of these sustainable sources such as solar panels to further the growth and development of clean energy production. These are my citations and references. Thank you.